This is proof why I should not be trying to write any travel diaries anymore. Sziasztok! So currently my life consists a lot of traveling. And usually I think that I should write travel diaries, probably, because I have a lot to tell. But then there's this book, which every time I look at it proves to me why I shouldn't be writing travel diaries ever again, actually. In the end of 2015, I planned to leave Germany for a year, because I didn't really want to go to university right after school. I don't think that's a good thing to do, quite honestly. And when I arrived there, I immediately started writing my travel diary. And at first it wasn't really good. I was just writing down very random stuff, but I thought I will improve doing that eventually. And just maybe write down everything interesting that happened. And let's just say, looking at it now, it is very interesting indeed. So I went to London kind of with this work and travel company, but then actually it just rips people off because it sends you to another company that costs a lot less and they pocket all the money, so fantastic. I'm not sure if it's weird because I'm not going to look at the camera for like 90% of this, so it's like, not sure if that's engaging. Maybe I should hold it like that. Do you see that?
Yeah.
You know, I'm on the second page and I'm already finding things that I don't remember happening. Like here it says I found a job at a certain fast food branch. And I never found a job there, so excuse me, when, how, what happened to it? I never wrote anything cohesive down, like either I did nothing for most of the day or I just didn't know how to write things down. Cooked spaghetti with corn sausages for the first time ever! There's a fast food chain in brackets and then it's crossed out. What was I trying to say? And in the very beginning I started naming every single person I've ever met in this book. So there's a lot of names that I have no idea who they even are, and it's like, who's Tony? Who is what? Who's Jake? I don't know who Kendall is. Who's Paul? There's always new people, but then most of those people are never mentioned again 2 weeks later. It's like I met them, but I guess I wasn't friends with them because planned a road trip. First of all, with whom? Because I didn't... On the 27th of October I didn't know anybody who could drive, so I'm not exactly sure who the hell I was planning a road trip with. Also underneath it says, planned a rental contract. What does that even mean? A bit later it mentions 2 of my roommates had actually made a story time about... I'm not gonna name them here, but I'm gonna link the story time above, if it works. On the 9th of December I apparently worked the first time at the Bank of America. That's actually my favorite place from event catering I worked in. That's also the best lunch I've ever had, like it was completely free and they had so good food and so many choices, it was crazy. And then you have days where it just says 5th day at work, 6th day at work, 7th day at work, 8th day at work, 9th day at work. It says nothing else about that day. On the 26th of December it says I ate, and then in brackets, grilled chicken. On the 27th of December it says, met with Kendall. I don't know who Kendall is. On the 1st of January it says, I went to a Swedish restaurant with Paul. First of all, who's Paul? I'm sorry if you're watching this, Paul, but I don't know who you are, so... How did you get into my travel diary? The whole first page of January is just stupid, because it just always mentions what I'm eating. Or which movie I'm watching. Also there's movies where I'm like, what is that movie even? Hot Fuzz. That does sound like garbage. Breaking at the Edge. 8th of January. Met up with Celine, made spaghetti and hot chocolate. Who is Celine? On the 13th of January it says, got a On the 13th of January. On the 13th of January it says, got a teddy bear. On the 18th of January I applied to 2 jobs at Putney. And then underneath it says, the Putney thing. And actually what I meant with the Putney thing was a story where a manager from a fast food restaurant sexually harassed me. I'm gonna put that story above me. I'm also gonna link it down below and on the end cards. It seems looking back, that I might have had food poisoning for a couple of days without even knowing, so that's good. Especially since you can die on food poisoning. So I remember on that day it started, I was out with a friend and again applying to jobs in my area. And then when she went home and I went to the supermarket to buy something, I kind of suddenly couldn't stand anymore. Like I needed to sit down on the ground and it was already kind of weird. And I struggled a lot walking home because it was like 15 minutes away. And I do remember I went to bed and I couldn't stand up for about 2 days. I couldn't even go on the toilet, so... I do remember on the third day, I kinda managed to go into the shower, but I also was sitting on the ground because I still couldn't stand. And I do remember I couldn't eat anything, I couldn't even drink water without it triggering me needing to go to the toilet like 10 seconds after. But I did nothing about it. And instead, a day later I went on a day trip with friends. Maybe you should look into your health, like a tiny bit more. Maybe. So on the 10th of February it says the theft. So on that day I worked in a place called City University, which also wasn't really a university as far as I'm aware. In the job position where you take coats and hang them. And I had my backpack next to me. And I remember one of the managers coming in and putting my backpack somewhere else. And at the end of the shift, my backpack was gone. Now the thing is, I know what my backpack looks like and I wouldn't have given my backpack to anyone. And no one except that manager and like 2 of the people from the band were inside that room ever. So either one of these 3 people stole it or it just disappeared, which... no. And now I had no backpack, no jacket, no wallet, no ID, no money. Basically nothing. Everything was gone. My keys were gone as well, I think. Nearly a year later, I got several calls from the London police telling me my ID showed up. 17th of February, fast food chain assessment center. There's another story time about that, which is the one about group hiring. It's gonna be up there again and also linked down below. On the 25th of February, I celebrated my 19th birthday party with most of the people I considered friends back in the day. I know that a lot of them couldn't on that day, but on the 26th I already started traveling up to the north. And it was a quite massive travel actually. So I started off going to York, from there to Whitby, to Middlesbrough, Durham, Newcastle, Wallsend, Tynemouth, Whitley Bay, North Shields, South Shields, Sunderland, Carlisle, Lanercost, Penrith, Shap, Ullswater, Berwick-upon-Tweed, then I went to Edinburgh, Glasgow, Stonehaven, then I went to Balloch and Lass, Owen, Carrara, and then I apparently went back to London watching movies and eating food again. I apparently also only worked 4 days before going up north again. Shall I say I didn't have money again? Because I didn't. 29th of April. Went to the doctor and the sweet shop. First of all, I don't know why I was going to the doctor, because I don't remember doing that. Also, what the hell is the sweet shop? And why is that in the same phrase? Like, what's the connection there? Because that doesn't make any sense. Then I went for 2 days to the Isle of Wight. On the end of the second day it says Lymington Story. I don't know what that means. When I say that, I have a memory of sunset in some random town with some random people. I don't know what the connection was, I don't know what I had to do with these people and why it was a story. And then there was just 2 more days of work. Like, that's also a funny thing. The last day of work, they did like me and the other person working there so much that they did offer us to work for them directly without our company. So they didn't have to pay the company. But it was the last day I was being in London, literally. So I was like, are you kidding me? Couldn't that have been happening like a month before? Kinda. There's literally a list of friends I had in London. But then like most of the names are crossed out. I'm not sure what that was supposed to mean. And then I have this list, like back in the day I was thinking, because I lived in London, I kind of wanted to live in different capitals of the world. So I had this massive list of cities to live in. And now when I look at this list, like I don't want to live at like at least half of these cities, probably like 2/3 of these cities. So also I have about 4 more diary kind of things. I'm not sure why I used like different ones. I don't even know what's in them. Okay, this is not right. Oh yeah, here's a book where I just like wrote down what I did of my bucket list. Again, a whole travel list of all the places I went to. Not sure if you can see that in the camera. Oh, then there's this list where I wrote down how much I worked in what week. But if you look at it, these pages are like super serious. I guess I had so much time with nothing to do, because there's a list where I kind of wrote down how often I worked in which place, just to make a list in the end to say I worked there 5 times, and there 8 times, and there 1 time. Oh, and there's one that's just empty. I'm gonna, as said, link every story time I've mentioned down below, and I'm also gonna put some of them in the end card, but mostly the playlist, which is gonna be called the London Diaries, and it's gonna include every weird thing that happened in London in a more cohesive way. But yeah, thanks for watching and see you next time. And this proof is the proof why. Quality!